You think that there's no state in America where it's a good investment to buy a home?
I think, well, okay, let's preface this. If you find a good deal, then you find a good deal.
Yeah, okay.
But generally speaking, it's getting more to be on the side of the spectrum of like needle in a haystack than it is like, okay, you just kind of buy a house, you'll be okay.
So if we want to talk about buying a home, we'll
Right.
talk about buying a home. I think it's a great idea to buy a home if, number one, you could afford it safely, assuming your income goes down. In a worst case scenario, we had a recession, something that your income goes down by 30%, you could still afford the home. A home that's a good deal because at a right price, everything makes sense to buy.
Okay.
So it's a good deal, and you plan on staying there for probably at least 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
Then I
Jesus.
think it makes sense. There's a great thing. It's called the New York Times rent versus buy calculator. And what that is, you could type in like your opportunity cost of investing in the stock market instead, how much rents go up, how much property taxes go up, your insurance, maintenance, repairs, things like this add up.
Yeah.
Like even if this house were paid off, completely paid off, it would be about $45,000 a year.
Okay.
Just to maintain it. So
I
I think
because you have no landlord. I didn't even think about that. With no landlord, you have to acquire people. You have to pay people to do shit that you would call your landlord about.
correct.
Oh man,
But there's
that's
a lot. But
thing.
it's property
Goddamn.
taxes.
Gotcha.
It's maintenance. It's insurance. I
Yeah.
was talking to a buddy yesterday. He pays $60,000 a year in property insurance because his property is located in the hillside and it's just a fire risk. So his insurance went from what used to be like $6,000 a year, $500 a month,
Yeah.
which is a lot,
Yeah.
to $60,000 a year. And then you think to yourself, okay, $60,000 a year. And then you pay on top of that another $30,000 a year for property tax.
Yeah.
Another $10,000 a year for repairs. Now you're at $100,000 a year, not even counting your mortgage.
We're in hell.
So you could rent an identical home for, let's call it, $8,000 a month. And by the way, these are high-end Los Angeles prices. So the average person can be like $8,000 a month, but you could rent a home for cheaper than it is to buy. So I would say for the average person, let's say you're starting a family, you want to settle down in an area, you could comfortably afford the home, you want to live there for the next 20 years. I think it could be a great idea to buy a house, lock yourself in, and there's a mental peace of mind that you get by owning a house and not having a landlord.
That's what I'm looking for. So we'll circle back in 2 years and we'll have a better conversation because now I'm not going to buy. So.
Yeah. The thing is,
That was it?
Yeah. He's smart.
Yeah.
He,
Well, here's the thing.
He said words I don't know, so I believe him.
All it is this. I look at the numbers. I'm very logical. Like I have connections to houses, but the amount of money I spend on it would overturn that.
Yeah.
So when I look at the numbers and I think, oh, I could buy this great house for numbers here for $1 million.
Yeah.
That's going to cost me $8,000 a month in overhead. Or I could rent an identical house for $3,700.
Yeah.
And I could save the difference and invest it. And I have no money down. I'm not locked into this house. If the roof breaks, I don't have to fix it. I have no responsibility and I could pick up and move anytime without any closing costs. I'd rather pay the rent.
Yeah.
When that buying becomes equal, or when I think that, hey, I could fix it up, it's a great deal, and I'm going to come into 100,000 equity, and then I'll buy. But until the numbers make sense, like I would be a renter. Like I'm not,
Well, I am, so I'll just keep it going.
So that's my argument.
Hell yeah.
As a real estate investor, like I wish I could.
As a landlord.
Yeah.
People
As a
in the
landlord,
comments, like he'll comment that and be like,
Gosh.
oh, a landlord wants more people to rent. Go figure.
But the thing is, it's like they don't realize, like I'm not buying anything new, and whether or not you rent or buy makes no difference to me. They said the same thing when I used to work as a real estate agent. I was telling people from 2016 to 2020, when I was a real estate agent, I was telling people it's a great time to buy. Now is the time to buy. And everyone's like, oh, because he's a real estate agent.
That's
he
not
wants
even
to
a bad thing.
sell us it. And I was telling people, refinance your mortgage.
Shout out to my
because
real
he's-
estate agent, Rachel, if you're watching this. Thank you for helping me secure my beautiful home.
Shout out Rachel.
Hey, Rachel. So anyway, but it makes no difference. Like I'm not taking on new clients. And so it's like, hey, whether you buy or like sell or rent, that makes zero difference to me.
Yeah.
It makes zero difference if you rent or buy. I want you to save money. And that just gives me a feeling of personal satisfaction if people could save money and invest. That's it.
Hell yeah.
So that's my rant for.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.